One more question.
Is that Versace you got on?
Everybody's wondering, is that Versace? Who? Is that Versace?
Absolutely.
Big 3.
From the Dash Radio studio here in Hollywood, California, I'm your friend Tattoo, and this is all about the Big 3. Of course, my co-host, director of Big 3 Fireball Operations, the one, the only, my man, Thomas Scott. T, what's good, man?
What's up, Tat? You know, we got all the good basketball going on in the summer here at the Big 3. I'm happy to bring it all the way live on All About the Big 3 with you.
Yo, man, and we had a great week 2 in Chicago. Saturdays, Sundays games were off the hook. I think we had one of the best weekends we've ever seen with the Big 3. So why don't we go back to Chi-Town, the Windy City, beautiful Chicago, and let's go back to that court where we recap week 2 of the Big 3.
Big 3.
Great week 2, Thomas.
Absolutely, man. Started out with Three's Company versus TriState. And, man, I couldn't wait to see Michael Beasley get back on the court after being player of the week. But Jason Richardson.
Wow. Jay Rich was getting that money.
Yeah, man. He still has bounce. Couple dunks, man. Electrifying the crowd here. And you know what? His leadership, his presence led to them getting that W, man.
Surprisingly, everybody was thinking Three's Company now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you ask anybody in the gym, they probably would have thought Three's Company was going to take it. But Mike Beasley kind of looked like he was a little sluggish. You know?
What do you think that was, Thomas?
Well, I think he was dealing with the contact, the physicality. I think it's something he still has to get adjusted to. And then also just kind of the flow within the team, right?
Right, man.
Each week is different. The matchups are different. And I think really what it came down to was Jason Richardson's intensity and leadership to get his guys going. And when you have that kind of unit that's all on the same page, man, it's trouble. So Three's Company took the L, TriState gets the win.
And you know Dr. J was really happy about that too, right?
Absolutely. Nobody wants to go 0-2 to start the season. It's a big, tough mountain to climb from there. So they both split the difference. Both teams are 1-1.
And to let you know, man, at Big 3 Fireball, never count any team out.
Never. You never know, man. 1 + 1 doesn't always equal 2 here, man. You can't just look at a team and judge the book by its cover. You never know who can win, man. Each week, anything can happen in the Big 3. And TriState gets the win, 51-35 over Three's Company.
Big 3.
Game 2, talk about it, Thomas.
Yeah, we had Aliens versus Triplets. Both teams coming off a W, right?
Right.
But Aliens was missing Carlos Las Manis, but they also got their co-captain, Tomas Ivosev.
Tomas.
Yeah, real physical, ready to bang. But honestly, you got to give the Triplets a lot of credit, right?
Hey, they're champions, man.
They're champions, but also Deshaun Stevens from the Aliens, I thought he did a great job containing Joe Johnson. I haven't seen Joe Johnson contain like that in a long time, but you know what he did? Used himself as a decoy.
Right.
And it opened up Jeremy Pargo. He
Nice.
had the first 14 points for Triplets.
Jeremy Pargo's looking nice too, man.
Unbelievable. And then he goes out the game, Gennaro comes in, and he just knocks down a couple buckets and then had the move of the season, man. That behind the back snatch, sidestep 3, just incredible play.
Also, man, look at Aliens without their, new player, but Triplets had their coach Leslie.
Yes. Lisa Leslie was back, made her debut. But I also felt like Dusan Ballou struggled a little bit. Didn't make a lot of shots, had a bunch of turnovers. I think they need to just go back to the film and check out and see what they need to do. They'll finally have their full unit for week 3 in
How
Dallas.
do you think that'll turn out for Aliens? I mean, actually having the full team together.
I think it would be great because the continuity. Now, these guys are probably the only team in the league that are actually together, right? The 3 captains. They're bunking together in Dallas, right? So you're going to have Carlos, you're going to have Dusan, you're going to have Tomas out there working it, trying to figure it out, watching the film. And I think their continuity and the style of play, they're going to give themselves a great chance to win week 3.
And look, man, Triplets 2-0.
2-0 with Joe Johnson not having his best game. So you got to really look out for Triplets this year.
Absolutely.
And Triplets get the win, 50-33 against the Aliens.
Big 3.
It was Ghost Ballers taking on the Ball Hogs.
Yes, man, and the Brazilian Blur was back in attendance, man, fresh off of a championship with the Golden State Warriors. And, he still showed what he can do, but he still looked a little bit rusty, you know what I mean? But a couple of big plays from Kieran Iverson. Also, Jody Meeks, I thought he stepped up to kind of carry the load. But at the end of the day, man, I feel like Ghost Ballers might be the sleeper team in the Big Three.
Right.
When they work that combination of Darnell Jackson, Chris Johnson, and Mike Taylor.
Yo, Mike Taylor was hot.
Very dangerous team. And when he's able to get into the paint and facilitate, and his energy is contagious, and we can't forget about Ricky Davis and his shooting ability.
Absolutely.
But I just feel like when they work that combination, it's incredible. And I also feel like there's no drop-off when they take Mike Taylor out the game and put in Jermaine Taylor. So when they're able to kind of play with that type of continuity, I mean, this team is battle tested. They always get off to a good start in the Big Three. That's what they're known for. And if Mike Taylor can stay healthy, this team is really dangerous with the combinations they can put on the floor.
That goes for JT too. It looks like he's been wanting to get that, you know, that comeback feel because, you know, of his injury right here with the Big Three.
Yeah, man. You know, he blew out his Achilles. He came back a little bit for Bivouac last year. He got drafted this year. And now he's showing he's more appreciative, and obviously he loves this league, but he's just hungry. He's on a different mission, you know what I mean? And shout out to Iceman for coaching his team to a major victory.
Yeah, and you know, you never want to start off 0-2, but it don't look like that pig pen's working for Ball Hogs this season so far.
Man, shout out to the pig pen, though. The energy that they brought in the crowd was felt. It was electrifying, but it just wasn't enough, man. The game is won between the lines.
Right, and now the Ball Hogs are 0-2.
0-2 Ball Hogs.
Not a good start.
You know, they're known for their slow starts.
Right.
You know, they made some improvements last year, but it's still early in the season. And hopefully week 3, to me, is a must win for the Ball Hogs. And Ghost Ballers take the W, 50-43.
Big 3.
Yeah, Three-Headed Monsters going up against Power. You know, Three-Headed Monsters down 1, right? They're 0-1. They needed this win. Power came in 1-0. Could have went 2-0, but it was a duel. Old-fashioned, honestly, real physical fought game.
It looked like Power was on their way to go 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely. And to me, Power is a delicate team, and I feel like Catino and Nancy really has to put their imprint and kind of really find a way to keep this team on the same page, because a little bit of a volatile team, right? A couple calls didn't go their way, but I thought they could have fought through, and they did, but towards the end, I felt like it was a little bit of a meltdown.
Right.
But you got to give a lot of credit to Three-Headed Monsters. It looks like they found their identity. Obviously, Kevin Murphy.
Yo, is he just one of the top players in Big 3 right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin Murphy, we all know from last year and his imprint, he left here. But I think Jonathan Simmons actually kind of found his way in the Big 3. I mean, these two guys can penetrate and get to the paint and score it without anything, right? No pick and rolls. They can just get there. And so when they're taking that ball out, they're hard to guard. Straight line drives. And then Rashard Lewis played really
Sweet
big.
Lou, man.
Yeah, he's playing like the big man
Living
position.
up to who he is.
Absolutely.
Captain of Three-Headed Monsters, man.
Absolutely. He made some big shots, made some big plays. I thought he had his work cut out for him defensively, but he held his own. And look, Three-Headed Monsters found a way to get the win.
Absolutely, man. And now they're 1-1. Power 1-1. What was the score on that one, Thomas?
50-44. Three-Headed Monster.
Big 3.
All right, man, let's go to what I am going to call one of the greatest games in Big 3 history. You have Bivouac taking on Enemies. I mean, both teams are 0-1. It was like a game that both teams needed that victory. Talk about it, Thomas Scott.
Well, that game to me was incredible. You got to give a lot of credit to Elijah Stewart.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, they worked their way.
Talk about highlights, man.
Exactly, but the team, right, they came back. They were losing, and we know the reputation of Enemies. You know, they've been kind of slow trying to get W's and trying to get their feel together, but Elijah Stewart just would not let it happen. They took Nick Young out the starting lineup, and I think they went with Sek Henry, Elijah, and Isaiah Austin to kind of get more energy going. And they brought Nick in the second half to kind of get a feel, knock down a big 3. But that dunk Elijah Stewart had off the drive was just electrifying. I was out of my seat.
And that 4-point shot to put them right back in, to put them in the lead.
Exactly.
But right here at the Big 3, you got to win by 2 points.
And I think, Chad, everybody in the crowd was thinking, man, take the 4, shoot the 4.
Right.
And he got the message, and he took it, he elevated, and he knocked it down. It was a big shot, and they still were able to win the game. And remember, a lot of people forget, you got to win by 2 to solidify a W.
everybody was celebrating. Elijah Stewart was celebrating. He was having a seizure on the court.
Exactly.
Like, he thought it was over, but even Elijah didn't really know that it was, big three right here.
Yeah, you got to win by 2. So at the end of the day, I think all of us appreciate a little bit more basketball. Gave everybody a chance to kind of win that game, but at the same time, enemies, Gilbert Arenas, Nick Young, man, they got the W, man.
Right, and you know what? Bringing the fire, it helped this team as well.
Yes.
Gilbert Arenas pushing that button to bring the fire. Those bring the fire calls are really making sense to this league by giving a point or taking a point. Simple as that.
It's nothing like a well-timed, perfectly well-used bring the fire, because it can work for you or it can work against you. And for the enemies, it worked for them.
What was the final score, T?
52-49 enemies, but man, I feel like we got to shout out Gerald Green.
Oh yeah,
I mean, if we can run some of those clips right here, Gerald Green was incredible, an unbelievable step back 3, the drives, couple dunks, man. It was just incredible to see that Bivouac team get out there. Will Bynum made his debut in Chicago, and Corey Brewer, man, like
he looked nice. He stepped up.
Yeah, he stepped up, played. I thought they could have won that game, honestly, and they just got to work their combination. Gary Payton, get them back in the lab, watch the film, go over some things in practice, and this team can still be dangerous in the Big 3.
Big 3.
Yeah, when we had Killer Threes versus Trilogy, Stack Jack's old team going against his new team. Both teams really a grind out teams, but also mirrored images of each other, right? You got Briscoe going up against Franklin Session.
That was a nice matchup.
Right, you got Dante Green going up against James White, and then you got Amir Johnson going up against Josh Powell.
Amir did big things this weekend.
Absolutely, man. Amir played incredible today, rebounding, a lot of buckets down low in the clutch, but then also you saw Hawk got in there and was able to make a little bit of a difference.
You gotta love D-Hawk, man.
Exactly, and at the end of the day, I felt like they were daring Franklin Sessions to shoot. He missed a couple early, but he was also able to get into the lane, make some passes, get physical, and go up. I mean, honestly, they should have wore a football pass today because it was so physical, man. Also, even Isaiah Briscoe, they brought the fire against him, and I thought Dante Green made a tough shot over him because that was incredible defense.
Yeah.
But then the second time, he was able to hold his own, and Killer Threes were able to bring the fire. So now you got both teams 1-1. Charles Oakley, I thought he did a great job coaching his team, trying to get them physical, getting downhill. I thought they took advantage of being in the bonus. To me, that's the key to the Big 3. If you get a team in the bonus, you get a bucket,
and you get the ball.
And you get the ball back. But it just wasn't enough. And man, an out of bounds step out by Dominique Johnson, right when they were in that clutch of gotta win by 2. Trilogy gets the win. Big time game for Trilogy, Stack Jack, James White, and they take the W.
Download the Big 3 app in the App Store and Google Play Store. Exclusive content, stats, highlights, merch, everything you want to know about the Big 3, download the Big 3 app and get it.
Yo, man, nobody breaks down those games better than you, Thomas. Thank you so much for that. And I want to thank all the fans for coming out in Chicago. Week 3, we're in Dallas, Texas, so make sure you get your tickets, big3.com. Speaking of Dallas, Texas, speaking of Week 3, and my guy, Thomas Scott, break it down, T.
Yeah, well, we got Power and we got the enemies, 2 teams that are both 1-1 and really trying to get ahead of the pack right now. Looking at Power, last game they played, they were a little sluggish, but I think this week with their professionalism, Coutinho Mobley's leadership, I think they're looking to bounce back in a big way. Enemies coming off an incredible high right now as they went crazy getting their last win, but I think the key is going to come down to Isaiah Austin and being able to exploit some mismatches, but also just the defense of the enemies. We all know that they can score. I don't know who's going to take this one, but I know it's going to be a great one to watch.
Right. And you know what? Congratulations to Elijah Stewart, man. He was off to a great start with the Big 3 fireball this season. But for him to go Summer League with the New Orleans Pelicans, it's a big deal, man. And we want to congratulate him for that as well, man. But will enemies be able to hold that momentum without him? Because he's out there shooting like a superstar, bro.
Exactly. And you know what? This isn't the end for Elijah Stewart at the Big 3. He just won't be here this week, but he will be back with his team to finish the season. But you're right. I mean, he really carried the load.
He's got the hustle. He's got the young legs. He's only 26. As you know, the Big Three is getting younger. And I think you got a bunch of guys that are willing to step up in his place. Like I mentioned, Jordan Crawford. I like what I saw from Sek Henry last week. And then Isaiah Austin. He's back at home. You know, he's a Dallas native. So I think with that kind of home crowd energy, the enemies are going to be ready to compete.
We are going to be in Dallas, Texas, man, for week 3 of the Big Three. Make sure you get your tickets, big3.com. Thomas, I know there's some changes going on. Can you talk about it?
Yeah, man. Breaking news, a lot of big moves being made. Starting off with TriState, they released Garland Green. And added Ray Nixon out of the draft pool, who was also a tryout player in Dallas.
Wow.
So we got our first tryout player, a part of the Big Three this season.
That's why it's important.
Exactly.
You always tell these guys, hey, listen, man, don't give up. Don't, stop playing. Don't get your hopes down. Because we can make that call at any time during the season. And congratulations to Ray Nixon, man.
Yeah, man. And you got to stay in shape. And he also has a lot of 3-on-3 experience. So with that being said, a little bit more movement. Bivouac, they have voted out Ike Diagu as co-captain. Right. Wow. And they have elected to move up Corey Brewer as co-captain. Now, you know the obvious right now, right? Garland Green back to the draft pool. Who you think they're going to get? Garland Green, Gerald Green's brother. So now you got the brothers together for the first time playing together with the Bivouac. So now you got Gerald Green, Will Bynum at co-captain. You got Corey Brewer at co-captain, who's been playing incredible. And now you have Garland. And you also have Jeff Ayers as well. So that's
right.
Big
And
movement.
Look at Thomas, man. If anybody needs movement, it's Bivouac right now. They're 0-2, dog. So congratulations to all these new Big Three upcomers. Let's see how they do. Let's see if they can help those teams and get some W's, man. Speaking of Dallas, guys, big3.com. That's where you can get your tickets. It's going to be another big weekend out there. And make sure you're watching on all our streaming platforms. And make sure you subscribe right here to our Big Three YouTube channel, where you can catch all about the Big Three every single week with myself, your boy Tattoo, and of course, Director of Big Three Fireball Operations, my co-host, Thomas Scott. On behalf of the entire Big Three family, we want to thank you so much for tuning in. Thomas, anything before we go?
Yeah, man. I just want to say this. If you haven't seen Big Three this season, where have you been? And if you have, why haven't you told a friend? That's all I want to know. Because it's going up right now in the Big Three. Fireball 3 is taking it to a whole nother level, man. We're above the rim. We're dropping 4s. We're bringing the fire. Man, you can't beat it, man. Big Three all the way.
You can't, man. It's been one of the greatest seasons so far, man. CBS, Vired, DAZN, Big Three YouTube. Follow us at Big Three, all our social media platforms. I'm your friend Tattoo. This is all about the Big Three. We'll see you next week, guys.
Get official Big Three merch at store.big3.com. You can get league and team apparel, including jerseys, jackets, hats, and more. Store.big3.com.